The Clover PIP facility is subject to OSHA's Process Safety Management Regulation 1910.119. This is because the flammable materials used in our processes exceed the threshold quantity of 10,000 pounds. PSM regulations require companies to apply management principles and methods to prevent and control accidental releases of hazardous chemicals stored above these threshold quantities, and to prevent catastrophic events. To comply with the PSM rule, PIP Clover maintains a comprehensive process safety management program. This program covers all aspects of plant operations, including the critical element known as Management of Change, or MOC. We follow the MOC procedure for several critical reasons. First, it helps maintain or improve safety by ensuring proper safety reviews are completed before any changes are made. Second, it helps maintain or improve quality by assessing the impact of changes on product quality before implementation. Third, it helps maintain or improve productivity by evaluating how changes might affect cycle times or production rates. Fourth, it provides a structured process for keeping our documentation, such as standard work instructions and P&IDs, accurate and up to date. And finally, it's simply the right thing to do. Management of change is more than a procedure. It's a commitment to safety, quality, and operational excellence. Management of change, or MOC, is critical for preventing catastrophic incidents. When the process is not followed, the consequences can be severe. One tragic example occurred when the MOC process for putting a second reboiler into service was not followed. This oversight led to a ruptured heat exchanger. The result? 2 fatalities and 167 injuries. This incident happened at the Williams Olefins plant, now Nova, located on the same site as the Honeywell Geismar facility. It serves as a stark reminder that skipping or ignoring MOC procedures can have devastating consequences. Every change, no matter how small, must go through the proper MOC process. It's not just a rule, it's a safeguard for lives, equipment, and the integrity of our operations. Management of change, or MOC, is a systematic process for evaluating, executing, and documenting changes to a process. What kinds of changes require MOC? They include equipment and piping modifications, instrumentation updates, adjustments to safe operating limits, changes to operating procedures, introduction of new raw materials, product changes, and more. An effective MOC process ensures that health, safety, environmental, engineering, and operational aspects of a change are thoroughly reviewed. This helps prevent unintended and potentially catastrophic consequences. Every change matters. Following the MOC process protects people, equipment, and the integrity of operations. Let's talk about training for the management of change process. If you're an MOC user, that means you're initiating, coordinating, or approving MOCs. Here's what you need to know. First, you need to be trained on this procedure before you jump into the MOC process. And whenever the procedure changes, like updates to HSEMS 819 or HSEMS 821, you'll need retraining. Even if nothing changes, you'll still refresh your training every 3 years. Now, if you're working in an area where MOCs are required, that's MOC General Awareness. You'll get this training when you're hired. And just like the others, you'll renew it every 3 years. Let's walk through the Clover MOC process steps. The process begins with initiation. This is where the change is first identified and documented. Next, we move to review and impact evaluation. Here, we assess the potential effects of the change and make sure everything is understood before moving forward. Then comes approvals. This step ensures that all necessary stakeholders sign off before implementation begins. Once approved, we proceed to implement the change. This is where the actual work happens to put the change in place. Before startup, there's a critical step, PSSR, Pre-Startup Safety Review. This ensures everything is safe and compliant before operations resume. After startup, we monitor and verify the change during the after-startup phase. Finally, we reach closure. This step confirms that all documentation is complete and the process is officially closed. Let's take a closer look at what's required during the initiation phase of a change. First, obtain an MOC number from the quality department. This number is essential for tracking the change throughout the process. Next, complete the initiator portion of Form SWIG7F1, which includes 2 key sections. Under Request, provide a detailed explanation of the proposed change. What exactly is changing, in as much detail as possible. Include the technical basis for the change, the underlying technical information and justification that supports the proposal. Under Reason, explain the impact of the proposed change on health, safety, and the environment. Now, let's talk about the MOC coordinator's responsibilities. The coordinator may add additional approval requirements beyond the minimum. This includes redlined documents such as P&IDs, electrical drawings, and standard work documents. Some updates may occur later during approvals, but any known updates should be made here. Now, let's go over the required activities during the evaluation phase of a change. All supporting documentation must be attached to your MOC before approvals can be granted. Documentation should include redlined drawings, such as P&IDs, clearly showing alterations, additions, removals, or rerouting. Redlined SWIs or other procedures. Redlined material specifications for any process chemical changes. When completing the impact evaluation, make sure to address these items. Check codes, standards, and internal engineering specifications. Complete a design review. Complete or schedule an HSE review and process safety. Complete a maintenance review, including ITPM plans. Perform a formal risk assessment, or PHA, for more complex changes. With the MOC form and your supporting documentation, secure approving signatures from each of the departments on the MOC Change Request Matrix section of the form. Now let's review the required activities during the approval phase of a change. First, confirm the minimum approvers. These include the production manager, quality leader, HSE leader, and engineering manager. Check that all MOC documentation is attached or included with the MOC file. This ensures the change is fully documented and ready for review. Review the list of approvers and ask yourself, should I include any additional approvers? Finally, remember this critical rule. No changes can be installed prior to all approvals being documented. Approvals are the last safeguard before implementation. Take the time to ensure everything is correct and complete. Once you have initiated an MOC, completed the review and impact evaluation, gathered all proper documentation, and obtained the required approvals on Form SWIG7F1, then you are ready to move forward. At this point, you may proceed with implementing the change, but only within the defined scope of the MOC. Following these steps ensures safety, compliance, and a smooth transition. Before operating any equipment after a change, there are critical steps that must be completed. First, complete the Pre-Startup Safety Review, or PSSR. This is a detailed checklist review of the installation to verify that everything is safe and ready for operation. The PSSR is typically led by the MOC coordinator. Next, train all affected employees on the change. This training is usually completed by the team lead or operations personnel. Revise operating procedures to reflect the new or modified process. Update all affected process safety information, or PSI. This includes PHAs, P&IDs, plot plans, and any other relevant documentation. Finally, update the inspection, testing, and preventive maintenance schedule for any new or modified equipment. Completing these steps ensures safety, compliance, and readiness for operation. After the change has been implemented, there are several important activities to complete before closing the MOC. First, ensure that all MOC documentation is complete and accurate. Every detail matters for compliance and traceability. Next, confirm that all impacted personnel have been trained. Training logs or communications must be added to the MOC file as required documentation. Monitor all post-startup actions to verify they are completed before the MOC is closed. Continue monitoring the change itself to ensure it was successful and that it addressed the original intent of the MOC. Finally, the team lead for the affected production area must post the change request in a common location while the change is in effect. Let's review the steps required to close a management of change. First, confirm that all post-startup actions are completed and documented. These must be recorded in the MOC file with signatures and dates on the change request matrix, Form SWIG7F1. Next, complete the MOC final results section of the change control form. This should include any relevant information on the success of the MOC based on its intended outcome, notes on documentation or other details describing any missing or incomplete items. Obtain signatures from the original approvers or their alternates to officially close the MOC. Address any concerns from approvers regarding missing documentation. Scan the completed change control form and send it to Quality for inclusion in the Change Management folder. Finally, Quality will update the MOC status to closed. You've just learned about the MOC process as it relates to making changes in the plant production environment for PSM-covered processes. But did you know there are 3 additional types of changes included in the management of change process? The first is management of organizational change, or MOOC. This addresses changes in roles, responsibilities, or staffing that could impact safety or operations. The second is temporary MOCs. These cover short-term changes that still require proper evaluation and documentation to ensure safety. And finally, there are provisions for emergency MOCs. These allow for rapid implementation of changes during urgent situations, but still require follow-up documentation and review. Understanding all these categories ensures that every change, whether planned, temporary, or emergency, is managed safely and effectively. Management of change isn't a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. Whenever you have questions or need support, reach out to the EHS department. We're here to help with process safety management, MOC procedures, or any safety, health, and environmental discussions. Your engagement keeps our workplace safe and compliant, so don't hesitate to connect with us anytime.